You hear this clock ticking. You hear this clock ticking. This clock is telling us the time to transcend duality. Remember the peace you achieve. Remember the peace you attain. Remember the peace you gain. You know, remember the peace you achieve. Remember the peace you gain. The concrete peace when we all transcend duality. Do you know the concrete peace which comes in the result of transcending duality? The concrete peace which basically is focus on one thing at a time. Then when we transcend duality fully, when our focus is not diverted, then the seer, then the sight is the seer, then the voice is the speaker, then there is no difference between the music and the music composer. You become one, you see. It's a feeling. We have to become habitual, if you understand. We have to become habitual of this. We have to become habitual, just like we became habitual of entertaining duality. Just like that. It's nothing, it's a mirage, but it seems so compulsive. It seems so there is a strong compulsion involved between ourselves and the thought or the mind. You know the difference between among. This is the English lesson for you right here. You know the difference between among and between. You see, talking about between. The difference between when we are talking about two beings, when we are talking about two entities, when we are talking about two things, we are saying between. When we are talking about more than two beings, when we are talking about more than two commodities or entities, we are saying among, you see. Anyway, moving on. We have become used to of duality. The pressure, it puts pressure. We have become used to of so many things. We have become used to of so many things that it's almost impractical for us to exercise our free will. That's why we keep coming back and back here to this planet. We have learned to freak out. We have learned to think about things non-stop. That what will happen or what if that what if can only destroy all the peace in our lives. We need to see these things clearly, otherwise we will never be free. Somebody asked me yesterday in a written communication and then verbal communication. You see, first they asked me, and then I said it would be rather good for me to have a video call, not the conference, but it would be rather good for me to have a video to मेरे को शक्ति दे बाबा. It would be rather convenient and easier for me to have a video call face to face, as long as you maintain the decency. The person asked a question. The question is, it's interesting question. So I was in a deep state of meditation not long ago. I came out, and whatever I needed to speak without having an intellectual process, if you understand. I hope the voice is clear today. Yesterday it was not clear. I apologize. Anyway, so whatever I needed to speak regarding the inquiry, you see, or I spoke yesterday, I didn't make no memory of it. No memory. I don't make memories. The more memories we have, the more cluttered we are, the more our mind is eager to absorb. Human mind is very fertile for concepts, ideas, lies, duality, you see. Anyway, so I told them, they asked me a very good question. Interesting rather, not good, but interesting rather. They ask me if everything is destined, means this three-dimensional experience is destined based on our karma, as you have mentioned it numerous times in your retreats. Then what is free will? If it is already destined, if it is already decided, then where is free will? To answer your question, and that's what I told this person, I do not mention identifications, I do not mention gender, that you can even a slight clue. Not because something is dangerous or something is just out of respect of their respect and privacy. Anyway, free will, what is free will, huh? Yeah, three-dimensional reality that you are experiencing right now in this moment in time. You know the narrow band, you gotta pull the narrow band to stretch your band to make it a broad band so you can you can break the barriers. Have you ever broken, have you ever broken the barriers so you can break the barriers of perceiving just through five senses, and you can go further and you can go more than perceiving through five senses. That is broadband. You have heard of broadband. Everybody loves broadband. Everyone knows and everybody wants broadband. So if you want broadband as well, you need to pull your narrow band. This narrow band three-dimensional reality is happening, and it is going to happen no matter how much thinking process you, impractical thinking process you involve here, which is a habit, or no matter how you freak out, which is another habit. Freak out thinking process, thinking constantly about what if, is useless. Not only it's useless, it keeps you not grow spiritually. It's a barrier. A big it's a big it's a big barrier. It's a big resistance in your spiritual growth. Please understand, my followers, my listeners. You see, it is going to happen, whether you think about it or you do not think about it. Thinking about it, you feel suffocated. There is a pressure on your heart. Not thinking about it, you feel free. You do not feel pressured. And there is no pressure on your heart. When you do not think about it, there is a room to focus on other things which can help you or trigger your spiritual growth, you see. So not thinking about it is wise. We tell people, oh, don't think about it, but we do not teach them how not to think about it. And they feel so weak that they accept thinking as a normal process, because they look around and they say everybody's thinking, so thinking must be normal. I must be thinking too. Everybody's freaking out. Even the situation is not even risen yet, but I'm going to freak out as well. Mind says, what, are you not going to freak out so I can put pressure on your heart? That's why we develop heart disorders. That's why we develop heart diseases, not disorder, but heart diseases. And that's why we get heart attack and we die with all the pressure on our heart. Heart is where soul lives. Heart must be lighter than a feather, but not the pressure on the heart. That can only be attained when there is no duality. If you are thinking about a problem or freaking out, you have duality. It's very simple. Duality has to go. That's what your free will is. You see, everything is destined, whether you freak out or not. This three-dimensional experience, which is a very, very narrow band, no matter what you do, no matter what you think about it, or you freak out, it will happen as sure as you are listening the sound of my voice. It will happen as sure as you are witnessing my half-naked body. It would happen as sure as you are witnessing what you are seeing on the screen, me and my words and everything. It would happen as long as you are feeling this moment. As a matter of fact, it will not happen. It is happening. What it is happening is destined. It's a fact. It's based on your karma. It's a fact. It is destined. What can you do by detaching yourself from the situation where there is no duality and practice your will is where free will is? Are you understanding what I'm saying, or is it too difficult for you to understand? Because I'm trying to make it as easier as your mind of humanity can comprehend. You need to detach, you need to learn to detach from the experience without any fear from it, without any duality from it, without any fear of loss from it, without any what if on it. You can change the karma if you practice your free will. Are you following now? Is it making sense for you, or still no? As I mentioned, that I mention things sometimes that are so difficult to mention in words, but I try, or I attempt, and I try my level best, and that's what I am doing. This is what I am signed up for. People, somebody has addictions. I'm elaborating now on my point. Somebody has addictions, addiction to sex. They can think of nothing but sex. They can think of nothing but smoking. They can think of nothing but alcohol. These are all addictions. They can think nothing but food. They can think nothing but making friendships. They can think nothing but traveling. And they can think of nothing but getting high on video games and so on and so forth. You see, if you are totally consumed all the time in this, and if you want to create further from it, then you are addicted to it. Then your life is depending. What is drinking? Drinking is you are acting on a memory, or it goes to all the addiction that I just mentioned or listed. A lot of that I listed. It goes to each one of them. What is it? You have a memory. You have a memory of your action. You drank, you felt numb, your pain subsided, then you keep drinking and drinking. You have that memory. As long as you act under the influence of memory, I can bet this carnation, and I can bet this carnation, and I can bet this Jivan, as long as you are acting under the influence of the memory. You are not exercising your free will. You understand now more? It's very easier to make you understand through the example that I just gave you. As long as you are acting on the thought of the high, somebody's addicted to sex. These addictions, by the way, are different type of chakras that we are stuck. Somebody's addicted to sex. Oh, when I get naked, or when my body rubs against another body, I feel a certain type of pleasure. And it's a high, of course. As long as you have the memory of that action, you cannot get rid of this addiction. You would do that again. As long as you have the memory of the fun of the video games, there is video games, everything in moderation is okay. Everything in moderation is fine. But if you consume in its character so much that now you are starting to make Legos. Now you are starting to make fictional characters. You are even doing cosplay. You are dressing up like that. You are doing this and that. Now you have created a very fictional reality, to be more precise. Now you have created a very fictional reality, and now you are setting yourself in that reality. If you understand, you are putting yourself in that reality. You are saying, I am putting myself in the reality. I am going to live in this reality. You are going to live in the abstract reality, so you can avoid the reality of divine, so you can avoid the reality of the sacred. And as long as you are avoiding it, you keep coming back here. You see, after a moment of time, when you become totally banded, like when you become totally banded to your action, video game, when you create sub-reality and fictional reality, when you are totally rubber, you know, when you are totally rubber banded with your addiction, a super thick rubber band, then you are not learning what was supposed to learn, because you are avoiding the experience. You are being exclusive towards something. But life does not work like that, if you understand. Life does not work like that. The very rules of life nature lays for you, you are going against it. Everything in moderation. Do not depend on it. Make time for yourself. Sit silent. Sit super, sit super silent for some time, or for even more time. It's not necessary to do something all the time. Even if you are sitting super silent in a meditative position and you are giving gratitude to your thought process, you are transcending karma, whether you know it or you do not know. You see, I'm giving you tools that how the where the free will comes. Somebody has addiction towards alcohol. Addiction is 10 or 15 years old. And the more powerful addiction is, the more memory of high there is. You see, now I'm giving you where the free will comes into play. You ask me the question, I'm answering your question, I'm elaborating, explaining, dismantling, and looking it as close as humanly possible. You know that by now. So, this is where the free will comes from. When you do not act, somebody has the addiction. Addiction is built because there is a memory of high and numbness where you avoid life. And then if you act on the memory, you are not exercising your free will. If you are not acting on the memory, you are exercising your free will. Addiction towards alcohol is the narrow band, which is destined, which is based on your karma. You This addiction didn't start in this lifetime, or any addiction. It's keep coming and coming and coming all the lifetimes that you are living. Karma does not go away. It is not attached to your body. We have talked about that. Karma solely attached to your soul or your atman. Karma does not go away. Excuse me, folks. So it's not, it manifests after a certain age. I have told you before. We have told you before, it manifests after a certain age, but it is attached from whatever you have made out of yourself to this point. This is all it is, including the habit or addiction. You see, and addiction is in the three-dimensional reality right now, the narrow band experience, isn't it? Addiction is there. You would keep feeding this addiction only if you act on the memory of the high of addiction. If you do not act, you are exercising your free will. And now you can get rid of the addiction. Now you can transcend your karma. I have made it as clear as anyone can understand. So I have answered your question. Freaking out is also karma. You freak out. You have learned to freak out. You see, a situation is not even arisen yet. A situation is not even arisen yet, and you are freaking out. You see, you are not even waiting for the situation, because you have learned that. You have learned from everyone around you. Everyone is doing that. I must be doing that too. You see, if everyone started running around naked, would you run around naked? Or any number of these things. You see, we need to challenge everything. You see, before we get involved in addictions. That's all I am saying. You see. Don't freak out. Freaking out is not doing anything. The experience has to happen based on your karma. It's not going anywhere. You freaking out, what practical role it is playing? Is it going to dissipate the experience if you freaked out? Is putting pressure on your heart. Heart must be like a feather. Duality puts pressure on your heart. It gives birth. You understand why I'm saying to you? It gives birth. It gives birth very frequently to anxiety. Anxiety, no good. It's a pressure on the heart which we feel. We need to take care of this problem while the time is very significant, while the time is very important. Keep meditating, you see. Keep meditating. I'll be right back. Ganpati Bappa, Mama Boo. Did you meditate while I was gone, huh? Did you did you make yourself super receptive? Did you make yourself super silent? Did you meditate? Okay. Let's go. Do not freak out. Freaking out is no making no difference. Is it dissipating your experience? The problem you are having, what you have been handed over right now in this moment in time, what practical role, if you understand, right now, in this moment in time, what practical role freaking out? What practical role freaking out is playing? Is it going to dissipate the situation, what you are handed over? If it is troublesome, you see, if it is troublesome, if it is irksome, if it is something that you need to take care of. Obviously, everything which is happening and what we are witnessing is based on karma. It's predestined. You see, you can say that. You plan this so you can learn the necessary lessons. You plan this so you can transcend your karma. You plan this before you took birth, if you understand. The day before your birthday, the time before your birthday, when you appeared in your birthday, when you appeared in your birthday suit, you basically were in the soul suit. If you want to call it that, if you understand, if you want to call it soul. We have talked about that, what soul is. In the very fundamental reality, it is correct to say there is no such thing as soul. There is just Brahman. But in the basic of teaching, the word used soul or the word Atman. The word soul or the word Atman has been used to, but as you grow in spirituality, as your awareness extends and expands, as you let consciousness or the sense of self-awareness run through this body, you realize that there is no such thing as soul. Anyway, so what practical role is it going to dissipate what you are feeling? No, it's a nasty habit. We learn from people around us, the elders which were here before and were supposed to hand over wisdom. Instead, they hand over misery. But anyway, it happens, it happens. We are not going to cry about it. Cry game, blame game is not for us. We need to do something about it. And we need to do something about it now, because the time is now. The time to be happy is now. The time to transcend duality is now. The time to free your heart is now. The time to make your heart like a feather is now. You see, I told you that's old saying in Egypt when Egyptian used to be wise people. The old saying in Egypt that if your heart is light like a feather, you are going to heaven. If your heart is burdened, if you understand, if your heart has pressure and your heart is burdened, then you are in trouble. You understand? I'm not going to necessarily phrase it like that you are going to hell, no, but you are in trouble. What it means basically that you are not going anywhere, you are already there in all reality, because heaven or hell is the state of the being, whatever the state you have lived for the most part of your life, if not all, you see. So let's get rid of the burden on our heart, you see, by transcending duality. Freaking out, what it does, it's a weapon from the demon and devil, Lucifer. Freaking out, what it does, it puts pressure. Even the situation has not even arisen yet, and we are freaking out. I learned it from my father. He was freaking out like a mental case he was, and he never questioned why am I freaking out. Maybe he learned from his father, and so on and so forth. We cannot give this to our upholding human race, the one who's going to take the charge of human dharma. You see, it's very low. If you need to pass something on to upcoming human race, you need to pass clarity, wisdom. That's the only way we can survive on this planet, or we cannot survive at all. You see, we need to hand them over. We need to get rid of the fiction and superstition such as religion, such as these so-called holy books which offer no wisdom. We need to challenge everything which was given to us by older people. Old, being old has nothing to do with being wise. Being wise, you are totally free from any type of problems. You have learned to transcend fear. You have learned to transcend duality, jealousy, the sense of possession on somebody. Me and my partner, we have no sense of possession on each other, because we know and we are very clear that we don't even have any sense of possession on our own body, because if we the as human race, if we did have we the human race, if we did have any type of control that how long we want our body to live, then we will be living forever, and then we will still be complaining, we will still be gossiping, we will still be miserable and stuffs like that. Do you see a point of living forever or eternity while you do these things and you think this is life, that's it? No, I am so bored with all this that I see. You see, I'm contented, I'm happy. My heart, for the most part, if not all, is free. My heart is like a feather, you see, because I fight duality. This is the mission of my life. That's why I have so much clarity. That's why I speak with you without any. It's totally, it's totally amateur, means without any planning. That's why I speak with you. That's why I bring clarity. That's why I have a certain type of balance in me. in order to bring clarity, in order to shine the light of awareness in somebody's life, you must be very balanced within. So you can do that too. I am the hope. I have answered your question. And furthermore, I told you, do not freak out. Learn not to freak out. How do you do that? You do breathing exercise before your meditation. I have told you breathing exercise. Take a long breath if you are a healthy person, if your lungs are healthy. Take a long, deep breath, you see, and hold it at least for 5 seconds if you could. If you have some type of physical condition, if you have some type of physical disease which bans you, ban, B-A-N, if you have some type of physical disease which, what the word I'm looking for, rather, more than a ban, the word I'm looking for is which prohibits or stops, which prohibits or stops you because you have the medical condition, you have a physical disease, then do not do this, okay? Because the whole point of meditation is to bring happiness in your life, not that you are struggling. So then do not do this, then just do the simple meditation, you see. But if you are a healthy person, you see, if you go to gym, if you take care of the body as your body carries you as well, then you do not have to ban, B-A-N, ban. Then you have heard the word ban. Then you do not have to ban yourself from this breathing exercise in the beginning of meditation. Then do it. Take a deep breath within. Hold it for 5 seconds if you could. And then let go. And do not rush to let it go, Let go slowly. Take a deep breath and fill your lungs as much as humanly possible. 5 seconds. Where you are not verbalizing through your pretentious lips that I'm going to hold my breath for 5 seconds. You have an idea what 5 seconds is. And if you do not have an idea why you are holding your breath, you do this. And then you let go, you see. Do it in the beginning of your meditation. Then do meditation and don't forget to take the right measures, Right measures are very necessary. So do not forget to take the right measures. Let's meditate. The result, basically, the result of the best is of everything, if you understand. The best of everything is practical. We can talk about a lot of things. We can lead the world in our imagination. Human imagination is very possible. Very strong, very potent. We can get laid over and over and over with anyone we like in our imagination. You see, we can fantasize, we can get the pleasure, we can do a number of these things, you see. But imagination plays no role here. This is not the time for concepts, ideas, memories, and imagination. This is the time for practical. This is the time for practical. This is the time of how serious, basically, how serious you are to soul of your well-being. How serious you are to attain how serious you are to attain the feeling and the concrete peace. How serious you are to take all the burden of your heart. If you have any confusions, hopefully the voice, excuse me, hopefully the sound here is good today. Yesterday, for some anonymous reason, it was almost muted. Anyway, I hope this is good. If you have any confusions, if you misunderstood something, you can always write me and I can clarify further. My services are for you. My services are for the humankind. And remember, always remember, I love you.